All right, what's up, guys? This is Mark Augustine. I will go. You guys who follow me already, you know me. If you don't, my name is Mark Augustine. I was raised in Trinidad and Tobago, studied in the US. I've been in e-commerce for 10 years. I physically live in Nicaragua. And this is a all, I wouldn't say friend because we've never met in person, but we've done business in the past. His name is Jason. And he'll introduce himself in a second. But what we were just talking about was the fact we were just kind of like catching up, and on the outside people see that I've changed a lot of things, and we kind of came together with the talking about automation. So I think that's where we should lead off just in our conversation, Jason. But before we get into that, introduce yourself, who you are. You're one of the old school dudes in e-commerce and dropshipping, and a lot of you guys need to be more upfront to help the young ones coming up. But yeah, introduce yourself, Jason, please.
Thanks, man. So yeah, I've been in the space with you. Well, the drop shipping space, for 8 years at this point. We started in 2014. Actually, January 2014 was when we made our very first ever drop ship sale. And that was before any softwares were around. Right. Yeah. So at that time, the innovation in the evolution of the marketplace was we actually kind of got our foot. I would say that, man, I believe that indirectly I built the drop shipping market because I taught people. I was the first to market teaching people how to outsource. Right. So that was the big evolution.
Was that on Amazon or was that on?
Yes.
That was on Amazon.
So yep. 2014, I go to a conference for a company called Dropship Domination. And, they're kind of parading people up in front of the audience, and people are excited, right? Like most of these people come from network marketing, and, let's be honest, most network marketers don't make any money, right? It takes some game. It takes some ability to sell. It takes some ability to convince people. It takes some ability to lead people and motivate and inspire, all these different skills that the average network marketer doesn't have. They want to make money, right? Yeah. So at that time, it's like, hey, here's this thing. You could sell products on Amazon. You could drop ship from Walmart. You could drop ship from Home Depot. You could drop ship from Wayfair. You could drop ship from Home Depot or, Bed Bath and Beyond. So you have all these products, right? So the game at that time, it was kind of funny because I was able to take some stuff from a previous life when I was in the corporate world and combine it with the idea that it's a numbers game, right? So how do I get those numbers? Well, I need to have an arbitrage on the dollar. I can't afford to hire someone in an American salary and just absorb the cost, but we need to be sourcing products every single day. Now, what's the first problem that we ran into? Man, there's no automation to manage the inventory, right? There's no ability to take stuff in and out of stock. So we had a spreadsheet, right? So we had this spreadsheet that kind of got passed around in the dropship space at that time that helped people kind of organize their sales information and their orders, right? Because even at that time, dude, nobody knew how much money they were actually making. They could say, hey, I'm making sales, but I don't know how much I'm actually making.
That's
right?
Crazy, right? But people today too,
still, I mean, the quality of seller hasn't gone up, right? Like most Amazon sellers are not good. I mean, that's the reality of it. The vast majority of them have a long way to go as it relates to how to run a business, right? Like,
and I think because running Amazon in this so long, I think that's my struggle with accepting. I've been in this long, and it still blows my mind how people could be running a fucking drop shipping business and have no idea how much money they make. Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah. It's, I would, the stats, it's something like 95% of businesses fail within the first couple of years. And you can see why. A lot of people just don't take the time to really dig in and learn the basics. I think the advantage that I've always had in the marketplace was we had to build the systems because the systems weren't built. So when we started teaching, like our big ad was, hey, Mark, let me teach you how to manage a team of people. We called it the 3 that will set you free. One person that's sourcing, one person that's handling inventory management, and then one person that's handling customer support. So we had to get our 3 people in place. And that was like, big explosion when we started teaching that. when we started teaching it, you know, people were jumping in the boat. They're like, this is awesome. I'm doing this drop shipping and I'm making sale, but I have no structure to my business. So we had a lot of people come through the doors. That's when we built Ecom, our software platform. So we started building that in 2015. It's been 7 years almost now since we started. We've been developing the platform now for 7 years, and we put over $1 million into the code.
I remember talking to you.
So but this was before any Genius, right? There's all the dropship softwares are connected to me, right? And I take pride in that, by the way. Right? I take pride in that.
And I appreciate, this is the thing. I appreciate you taking the time to do this interview. And I'm happy you're taking pride in that, because a lot of the guys now jumping in this game think this is a new thing. There are a lot of pioneers who've built, I know it's a small market, but guys like you, like a lot of us older guys came from DS Domination. And I look up to you because you were the first Amazon software. But anyway, go ahead. You're saying,
man. So that's it, right? So we've been in this space for a lot of years. And, you know, through the years, you start kind of identifying, like, as a software developer, you have to start looking at things like what's happening in the marketplace, because, you know, we started seeing a big shift. For the first several years, it was easy, right? And then the first kind of iteration of challenges that you had to deal with on Amazon was IP, right? That started kind of, you would get them, but they never did anything about it. And then one day, boom, now they're doing something about it. They're saying that you got to deal with these. And, you know, the conversation for years turns into IPs. And then, you know, a couple years after that, it's, we don't want you drop shipping anymore from Walmart or from Home Depot. You know, they don't tell you exactly where they don't want you doing it from, but those are the suppliers that they really don't want you doing business with, which happen to be by far the two biggest of all, right? Like Walmart was number one. And I would remember saying to my clients, you know, all the people using Ecom, that is, if you don't start learning other ways to do this, you're not going to survive. Your business is going to be taken away from you, right? So we started making this transition a while back, but the dropshipping community as a whole largely has always been kind of trying to find the new angle on how you can game the system and get away with it. Like every angle is like, it's like a increasing speed of which that they get caught. Right. So these angles, the loopholes are only open now for very short periods of time, because then the other marketers will go out there and start telling everybody about the loopholes. And, you know, don't you think that Amazon or Home or Walmart or Facebook has people out there kind of monitoring what marketers are saying about the loopholes?
Obviously,
system,
because,
you know,
like, I've had the Walmart account comment on my YouTube video before. So I know that.
Right. So they're out there, they're watching. So to me, man, like when it comes to, I would say, like, to kind of like circle back around to the automation thing. My issue mainly with that is the fact that it's being sold into a market that's drying up. The market itself, the drop shipping market is shrinking, right? It's not expanding.
So I think the drop shipping market, on Amazon is shrinking. The general nature of this marketplace dropshipping thing is a situation where you jump on a platform, there's a size of the opportunity, and the opportunity, because of how the sellers come on and how they break the rules, it keeps doing this, right? And you're right, because we are talking about this. We are talking about the automation is where you sell at a high cost. So the automation game, the actual business model, is you're selling at 20 grand, 30 grand, and then you're taking 30% of that. And I wasn't that, we were talking about this. I was one of the biggest people in that business model. The big difference between myself and other people is I physically live in a country that's offering a service. So when we were doing that way, we were seeing clients making their money back in 6 months, in 8 months. And then after, I was like, this is not, as it gets shrink, as the margins go down, and then the hullabaloo and all the suspensions come up, it's more difficult to be profitable. So then we went to a model where people are paying $12.50 a month, But I could have only done that because I am the crazy human with 100 and something employees. I
Yeah.
personally training them. I personally doing the work. We're having human resources and all this stuff. I'm not just outsourcing. I was not. I'm not in that business anymore. But I
Yeah.
was not just outsourcing to the east and then upcharging, right? That freaked me out. And then we moved down to like, okay, because I am seeing it at a little different lens, only because the guys who worked for me and some of the guys that still work for me, like I interviewed one of the youngest pilots in the country, and he'll make more money drop shipping than flying planes in
Yeah,
the country where I live.
It's,
You know what I mean? So,
there's good money in it.
but
Yeah,
it's
if
a
you can.
weird, but you're right. It is shrinking. It always goes like that. It tends to do this and go down. But now with technology is doing this, there's
Yeah,
less time.
my big issue with it is if you know that it's going to end poorly, then why would you do that? You know, like if you're the provider, for example, and you know the likelihood of someone having a long-term business out of this is very, very slender, you know, unless
Right.
you're just a gangster. If you're like really good at it, you know, because I know how to drop ship, I still do, and I do it at a high level, you know,
Right.
but you know, at this point, I mean, we're talking 8 years of experience and, you know, having access to all of this numbers, all this data, all these
Right.
sellers, you know, like to know what they're struggling with. And, you know, my team's been with me for a long, long time. We don't put much into that side anymore, but,
Right.
you know, our big, a challenge that we had really was when that market started shrinking. We started seeing it a long time ago, but
Yeah.
being able to navigate that, because you can't to turn off a drop shipping thing and like do something else in the e-commerce space. It's hard, right? Because
Yeah.
there's not a lot of infrastructure on the other side. You know, you can get set up with a wholesaler, for example, but man, they don't have any technology. And
Yeah.
if you don't know how to like bridge the gap, if you're not really good with like figuring out how to format spreadsheets, you know, okay, that's going to be your first little failure point, right? And then from there, you know, how do I actually like, how do I decide what to buy? And then what do I
Right.
do after I buy it? Do I have enough space? I live on the 3rd floor of my apartment building. How am I going to have, like, am I going to lug all these boxes upstairs, prep them, and then bring them back downstairs, put them in my car, drive across town, get out of the car, pull them back out of the car, walk up to UPS and give them the box and say, yeah, here you go. Can you send this into Amazon for me? That sucks, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody wants to do that part. Like, and so you could use prep centers, and most of them freaking blow.
Yeah.
You know, they literally suck. They have no organization to them. They're just like small startups trying to figure out, you know, how to do this. But when you got 100 people sending you stuff, you need some organization to your business, or else guess what? You're going to have a warehouse full of a bunch of freaking scattered boxes, and you're like, I have no idea who this belongs to.
Yeah.
And you wonder, Mark, why is your product not being shipped into Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Where is it? Oh, well, I don't fucking know. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in the warehouse, but that's the average prep center right there. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, you know, by the time the fees are done from prep, that's half your profit out of the gate.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, exactly.
You have nothing left.
So
you know, you have nothing left.
So how did you guys pivot exactly? I was looking at what you're doing. We talked back and forth. We talked in the past when you had Ecom Solutions. So what are you guys positioned now?
So I remember it's funny because you got an iteration of what we ended up kind of developing eventually, like a couple of years back. I remember we did that. I think it was called the ASIN database at that time.
Right.
So
yeah.
we had a lot of products from like Walmart and Home Depot and some stuff like that. So that was kind of like the foundation initially. It didn't work out the way that we wanted it to work out. You know, we didn't see like a big increase in numbers. However, the technology behind it was kind of cool.
It was. I remember that clearly because it connected it like.
Yeah. So we did that with wholesale. We essentially did that with wholesale. So we have all these suppliers now that we work with, we set up relationships with, we're able to kind of bring all of their products into our database, right? So we have millions of products to choose from. And then we have a team full of people that are kind of going through there and matching everything and then pushing them into something that we call Seats, which is a wholesale marketplace, right? So it's a marketplace of wholesale products. But the key is, as you know, Amazon changes daily, right? Like every single day, products go up in price, they go down in price, depending on the competition, depending on how many FBA sellers there are. So we're tracking everything daily. So we're tracking tens of thousands of wholesale products every single day, updating the amount of sellers, updating the buy box price, updating what the competition looks like, updating the average sales rank, the current sales rank. So we're tracking 10 different pieces of data on every single product. And you could put a filter in and say, I want to find stuff that's ranked under 250,000, makes me at least $5 when it sells, that has 0 FBA sellers, and it spits it out. And you have 3,000 products to go through that you can choose from that meet that criteria right there. So we are connecting the wholesalers into the marketplace of retail, right? So that's kind of where the technology, we took everything that we learned and said, well, maybe we don't want to connect Walmart because that is a non-viable business model. However, a viable business model is if sellers have access to real products where they have invoices to show their purchases of those products. In the event they need to prove their purchase of a product, they order it from us. We receive it here at our warehouse. We prep it, we package it, we ship it out the door. So it's hands off. It's almost like drop shipping. It's very similar to drop shipping. Outside of, you have to buy the product up front, right? So that's the kind of the thing. You have to buy the product up front. So you need to do a little bit of due diligence. You need to kind of be able to figure out how to read the Keepa charts. That's the number one skill to learn, like mastering Keepa. You can learn that. It's game on, man, because it's hands off. Like the business FBA, for example, like you don't do anything. Like you really just,
you don't. You do.
You have to source the products. There's really there's two real things that you do throughout the week. You source new products, right? And then you manage your inventory on the back end to make sure that you're priced competitively to make sure that your inventory is turning and moving, right? So that's the entire metric right there. So for a retailer like yourself, you're no longer needing a warehouse. You don't need a prep center. You don't need to set up relationships with suppliers. We are the supplier. We are the relationship. We have 30 plus distributors and manufacturers that we sell right now. So we have access to thousands of brands. We have access to millions of SKUs. So our big growth plan is to be the supplier who supplies the small business owner that sells on Amazon, right? We want to be the only supplier you ever need.
Is there something like, there isn't anything like that now? Like
no.
You're a pioneer in this thing. Wow.
Yeah, nothing like it, you know, and that's the advantage of continuing to invest into the technology for years, even when we were doing it into a dying market. We almost threw the towel in, man. Like I'm telling you, there were some times where my faith started waning and I said, maybe I need to go into something else like Forex, or maybe I need to go find like another path, because this Amazon thing doesn't seem to really have a life on its own. And it really was about a year ago where I sat down and we put together an offer. So I sat down, put together a sales presentation, and we were able to bring about 20 clients in the door. And at that time, it's funny, we were operating off of a spreadsheet at the time because we had the technology, but you couldn't just log into it and find the products. So we had to kind of like piece it together. And at that time, we didn't even have a warehouse. Like we sold something and we said, well, all right, now we got to figure out how to fulfill on this, and, we got this warehouse set up and we've been educating our clients now for 12 months. So most of them come from the drop shipping space. So it's been a learning curve for a lot of them to learn how FBA is different than drop shipping. However, for those that really take the time to learn it, it's a far superior model, because you don't have the stress. You don't need VAs. You could really do it on your own. And if you want to learn how to scale, you get good at it. That's where you can teach people how to be buyers for you. And boom, you get massive leverage. You could have one person in our system that is the equivalent of 10 good quality VAs in the dropship space.
Yeah.
Because it's about
sorry. Yeah, sorry. I paused that for a second because I had to take care of something here. But we were getting into the technology and you're talking about when you get trained and so on. But how does the process work? Is it that you get, what is it that your company is doing now? Is it that you get access to the software that's connected to all these wholesale products and you have pricing, sales volume, all that stuff? And then
Yeah.
is it that how is the user trained on this system?
Yeah. So as a user, it's pretty simple. You log in, you go into the marketplace, you put some filters in, which will show you the profitable products for you to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
You decide what you want to buy at that point. You click a button and you add it to your cart and you check out just like you would on any e-commerce website. And then
Wow.
from there, we handle the rest. So we go to our supplier, we buy the product, we have them ship it to us, and then from there we break down what shipped. Let's say you order 10 different SKUs. We take those SKUs, we put them into a shipment plan, and we send them out. So it's very, very hands off. So of course we provide like a portal to show people. We do weekly calls. We are going to be changing our model. We've gone with a more of a kind of a, yes, there's training, but we want to put together a much better offer than we have, which it's going to cost a lot more too,
Okay.
because it's valuable. And we are looking for specific kinds of people that are going to have a high probability of being successful after just years of working with so many sellers. You just start
Yeah.
realizing, some of them you just don't want to waste your time with. It's
Yeah,
just
most
not
sellers, if you don't have
worthwhile.
money to invest and if you don't have so
Yeah.
if you're a beginner and you have no money,
Yeah. Go to Udemy.
the
Go to
probability of
Udemy.
success is pretty low. Go to Udemy, go to some of the smaller
Yeah, because
options.
you really learn this business on as you do it, right? Like
Yeah.
there is shortcuts to learning, right? Like I
Yeah.
could give you the shortcut within an hour that would have taken you maybe years to learn.
Yeah.
But how valuable is my time to me? And it's very, very valuable. So if I'm going to spend that hour working with someone, well, I want to be compensated for all the years of effort and energy that I put into learning how to condense years of work into, here you go, this is what you need to do. And
Right.
if you do this effectively and you look at these metrics, if you understand how you pull this lever, then you can do that. So yeah, we're going to be coming up with this over the shoulder program soon, where I'll be actually managing my stores live, and those that are in my class get to watch me and ask questions. Why are you making that decision? Or I'm going to talk you through why I'm making that decision. I still feel like I'm one of the very, very best in the world at running an Amazon store. Like, I think
Yeah.
that there's not very many people more qualified than I am. There's only
Okay.
maybe in the influential space, there's like one group of people that I think really do well, but for the most part,
Yeah, on the Amazon side, I must say, in the years I've been in this, in YouTube drop shipping on Amazon in particular, I feel the first time we connected, I was privileged to have been connected with Jason, because a lot of you guys don't really realize how much time it takes off of YouTube and actually running drop shipping businesses to know what you're doing and know how to sell, what to sell,
yeah,
how to get the margins high, how to reduce returns, how to make sure you're not, all these different details. So I understand. And
yeah,
when do you think, because I would like you to, it would be interesting to have you on your channel where you could show the platform.
sure.
Whenever, I know you're a busy guy and you're actually running a business, unlike many YouTubers. But
Yeah, there's a real business that we're doing. I don't do tons of content. I've wanted to get into the content game for so long, but it's like, man, when I think about the energy that it takes to put content together, it's
yeah.
like, I don't know if I'll ever. I've literally have all the camera equipment. I have everything, and it's like I can't get myself to want to sit down and like put content together.
Well,
So,
because I've been in this for a long time and I've built my own software and I've traveled, and a lot of what people want dropshipping for is to be a digital nomad and all this stuff.
yeah,
I have kind of chosen that path to
yeah,
try to create content, and there's a lot of information out there, and a lot of the information is predatory and not honest. You know what I mean? And a lot of the older guys like ourselves, and we're not old guys, but we've been in this e-commerce space for more than 10 years, right?
it's a badge of honor, right? It's actually a
Yeah.
badge of honor to be a little older, because like that means that you've gone through a lot of experiences,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you can't really easily, you can't replace that, right? Like the life experience that you get running a business is something that, you know, we all go through massive amounts of failure as business owners. It's just a matter of who is willing to continue moving forward and learning from those mistakes. Or, you know, I've been fortunate that I've never made a mistake so grave that it's put me down completely.
Right.
But, you know, there has been some times where it's like, I'm not sure that we're going to survive as a company. There's been plenty of years, you know, there's a couple years to where, you know, everything that I made went to my employees and to the infrastructure. And, you know, I didn't have the right billing model. I didn't have the right, you know, marketing going. So, you know, like it's so much of entrepreneurship is about being willing to learn and continue moving forward. And that's one of the things that I don't mean to bag on, you know, sellers, right? But there's two types of people. And, you know, the type of person that succeeds with this is someone that doesn't have a history of quitting every single time.
Right.
So it's like, if you recognize yourself as someone, if you're someone that thinks like courses are a waste of time or energy, or you should be able to, someone should give you their information and time for free in repayment in the future whenever you actually do something with it, right? Like on YouTube where influencers, like people like you that are putting content out and might have been selling a course at some time, you know, the way that people act, you know, you have these influencers that also, these people that call out fake gurus, right?
Right.
So there's this kind of like undercurrent of people who, for whatever reason, they think it's okay to, some people defend like college education over buying hands-on coaching or training or courses from someone that's actually doing it.
Right, which is a weird, I'm glad you brought that up, because this new movement, yes, because that is strange to me, because college is expensive as fuck. I went to college for free, luckily.
It's so expensive. You were telling me about some airline guy that's making more money selling on Amazon than it. And I actually have my own story. Someone here that moved across country to work with me. He was a client for years on the dropshipping side, and he ended up closing up his dropship store. And we just kept in touch. And he started FBA, so I started messaging him and asking him about, you know, how things are going. And, you know, just he had a full-time job. He worked with the government in New Mexico, and he ended up leaving a long-time job with the government, a good paying job, to move across the country because he was also and is also making good money on selling on Amazon. Now he gets a double dip because he's got a full-time job,
right?
To work with us, and you know, he buys from us. He's actually the guy that sets up our business relationships with suppliers. So
okay, nice.
You know, he's the one that's talking to the supply and setting up those relationships. So yeah, man, like when you think about how much you pay for a formal education versus if you get a specialized education, I'll tell you, I got a 2-year-old son, and I'm not going to dissuade him from going to college or anything. Like, I think that there is some value to college. You know, there's certainly structure, and not everyone truthfully is made to be an entrepreneur. You know, in fact, most people really aren't made to be entrepreneurs. You know, now you could have a side hustle. You know, you could certainly have a side hustle. And if you're dedicated enough, you could turn it into something real. But, you know, again, kind of like looping back around, people that have problems with those that are selling information, you know, they're like, why are you taking advice from those people in the first place? Because they're not even successful, you know, like
they're not helping. It's not like they're giving you advice on how to solve your problem.
No, you
can't solve your problem.
Right? There is a lot of scammers out there, so you have to do your due diligence and really kind of be able to read between the lines. Is this person really doing it, or are they just saying they're doing it? You know, are they using all of these, you know, false signs of success, right? And luring you in. There's a lot of marketing crap out there, you know.
Yeah.
So what I'm really proud of here is, you know, for those sellers that are trying to make this transition, that have had a lot of success, you know, in their drop shipping game. You know, it's funny, a lot of the people are reaching out to me now because they're all kind of going through the same exact thing, right? Like where I was doing all these sales and now I can't do it anymore.
Right.
Walmart just suspended me, right? Or, you know, Facebook is suspending, you know, so it's getting to where it's like you have to figure it out. So like for the digital nomad, for example, we have a really good solution because you don't need the infrastructure. It's still, like I said, it's just like drop shipping in the fact that you never touch anything.
You all are just built. You all built out the whole. So how do the guys find you? I mean, I want to have you on the channel within the week if it's possible again.
It's so funny. I have such a low kind of visibility out there on the internet. You know, you could friend request me. I might accept it. I might not on Facebook, depending on if you're someone that I think would be, you know, that's the truth, right? If if you're someone that's connected to a bunch of Amazon sellers, I'll probably like accept you. If you're just someone that is never going to possibly be a client or buy, then why would we want to be friends anyways?
Let's do this. Let's do this. Anyone who's interested to get connected with Jason and go through the solution, follow me on Instagram and send me a message and say Jason's Amazon. My Instagram is Progress with Mark. So I'll put the link in the description and I will vet them because you guys need to understand that this is what Jason is doing is building an actual e-commerce business and giving you the infrastructure and the training to run your own e-commerce business, right? This is not just
we're the last supplier you ever need. That's it. Like one supplier, you don't need any other suppliers. We're out there setting up those relationships, bringing right now about 1,000 new SKUs into the system every single day. And we just got space that will help us double to 240 computers that will have 2 shifts. I mean, it's going to take us a long time to staff that, right? But our capability is going to be going up substantially in the coming months. We're moving into fingers crossed that we get this deal done, but we're moving into a 29,000 square foot warehouse. And
wow. Yeah, I saw some pictures that you posted.
Awesome, dude. That place is amazing. You know, we're outgrowing this space so fast, so we've had to actually close our doors and limit the amount of people that get in.
And what is the price point you're looking at? What generally would someone invest to start the business?
Yeah, it's always changing. So, you know, whatever it is today isn't necessarily what it's going to be tomorrow. Right now, we close our doors. It will be a minimum of $6,000 to get in. Right. So that's going to be the offer. It's going to be an amazing offer, though. It's going to be a no-brainer. Like it's going to be to where if you can get in, we don't let everyone in. We only have 10 spots that become available as they open up. And once we get that 10th spot done, boom, we're done. And at that point, we start working together on the over the shoulder. But the offer itself is going to be, it's going to be a no-brainer because I'm going
do you know when it'll be out?
Saying if you show up and you I don't give a fuck if you like it or not, or if you like me, if you thought that I gave you all the value in the world and you still feel like I didn't earn it, whatever, you want your $6,000 back, here you fucking go. I don't give a fuck. Right. Because I know out of that group of 10, there's going to be some that are with me for years. Right. There's going to be some people that get so much value that they're making more than that airline pilot, right, is making in their spare time. Or, you know, ideally, I think of this as a great side hustle. You know, it really is a great side hustle. Where you can have a full-time job. If you're not someone that's that digital nomad, right? If you're someone that's an executive of a company, or you're in management and you're intelligent and you understand how money works, and you see Amazon as a marketplace where you can invest your money and get a return on that investment. We built the marketplace for you to identify where you could park your money. To be able to deploy it. But you got to learn how to do it, right? So that's what that $6,000 gets, is the certainty on knowing all the levers that you need to be able to pull in order to make it happen, to be able to systematically grow and long-term scale a profitable wholesale business.
Nice.
Again, without having to set up relationships, without having to figure out how to format spreadsheets and run them through other softwares. You know, so yeah, we're going to have a really nice package available. I used to offer it where you could just buy in for like a monthly deal, but we recently closed it. Like I mentioned, our warehouse space is somewhat limited, you know,
Okay,
like
okay.
at the current.
Yeah, because at certain scale, if you build in the infrastructure, you need a lot of warehouse space.
Yes.
A lot of
So,
systems and tracking, and that's sick. That's sick.
and it's all about honoring your existing clients too, right?
Yeah.
To make sure that they have the opportunity. Like if my warehouse is so backed up, I can't get stuff out, because we're just getting more shipments than we have the capacity to push out. And right now is a weird time because getting labor is somewhat challenging in the current environment. Like we're always looking, and you know, people, they don't show up for interviews.
Wow.
And if they do take the job, they don't show up to work. And if they do show up to work, they might start being late immediately. So like to find good quality people
It's a
has its own
process.
set of challenges, right? But
Yeah.
to us, it's a problem we're solving, right? Because we
Nice.
know for Amazon sellers to have the opportunity to continue selling, they either need to go absorb the cost of building this thing themselves, or
Yeah.
you could just join us, right? And not have to go figure it all out on your own. That way you could just focus on the one thing that actually makes you money, which is buying inventory and selling that inventory. Everything else is just a cost of doing business.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, guys. So hopefully we'll have you on the channel again as soon as you have the time. I know you're busy building businesses. I know you have a meeting soon. So guys, if you have any questions for Jason, any questions for myself, feel free to leave them in the comment section. I'll put a link to Jason's Facebook and my Instagram if you reach out to any one of us for when it's with the classes and the software is actually open. But let me tell you something. Before I used OA Genius, I remember using Ecom solutions for Amazon.
Oh,
And
boo, you left us. You left us. Boo.
no, but what I changed the whole. I changed, and I'm not. And as a disclaimer, I'm not using OAGs at scale right now. So I'm not. You know what I mean? But Jason was just one of the, and Ecom solutions was just one of the pieces of software. They're always ahead of it, ahead of the game, because even that piece that function that you had that connected the inventory, I still haven't seen that. You know what I mean? So
I mean, we are, God, I'm proud of this, man. We're so far ahead, right? Like, I don't want to talk crap about OA Genius or anything, but in reality, every single idea that they ever came from me, right? They copied me every which way. Like they copied us. I mean, kudos to that guy who did a better job kind of networking with the automation providers where I never really did. So, you know, the software itself, I mean, I didn't realize he was in my Facebook group, so I'll leave it at this, you know. I'll leave it at this. So anytime we'd roll something new out, they would roll something new out not too long after we rolled that new feature out, right? So you know, the shipping confirmation automations, and you know, some of the other kind of cool little features that, you know, I didn't realize that I had a mole in my group. You know, now I feel like, you know, for anyone to kind of be able to replicate what we have, they've got a tall task ahead of them, you know, because it's no longer just
software. Yeah, you're not doing a wholesale.
Yeah, we're not scraping the internet anymore, right? Like we're doing things above board, and on top of that, like everything that goes into that process that we use to kind of be able to update the products regularly. That I'm surprised that nobody's come up with that yet. You know, like none of these kind of like price analysis softwares, whatever they're called, products,
right.
softwares. They're always giving you the snapshot at that exact moment. But as we know, things go up and down all the time. So what good is that? Like I'm missing opportunities if all I'm seeing is that exact moment, because that product that yesterday didn't look profitable today might be wildly profitable. Yeah. Maybe the 3 other sellers that were on it ran out of stock and they lost all their inventory space and they can't sell it anymore. And you come in and now you're making 30% margin on something that yesterday looked like it was a losing product, or last month looked like it was a losing product. So I think that that's really, I think that's the coolest thing about what we created, was that ability to kind of track millions of products, right? Like we have access. I have more products than I have people that can match them up at this point in our system. So, you know, our growth is, I'm excited about what next year. We're coming up on Christmas season right now, so Q4 is right around the corner, and we have a lot of cool stuff for that. We got toys, we got candy, we got chocolates, we got gummies, we got hot chocolates, hot cocos, we got Christmas.
Wow.
You know, we have all sorts of different categories, man. Like we're always finding new categories, and let me tell you, our suppliers love us. Yeah, they love us because we push more volume to them than any one seller is pushing.
Sure, yeah, because so you're doing the upfront work of building relationships and then bringing multiple distribution streams to these wholesalers by I see it. Wow, respect it.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. Like, we're excited about what we get to do every single day. Like, I it's a blessing, you know, to still be here. And I'm telling you, man, there's times where I really felt like I was going to get knocked out of the game. And there was times that I had a lot of self-doubt going on, and times where I hated what I was doing, and, you know, like, had to find a better, you get so tired of talking about suspensions after a while, right? Like, how long can I talk about the same crap every single day? You know, like, man. So yeah, we're happy that we've solved that problem. And I'll leave it at this, because I do got to go. In the last 12 months, we've done, let me just pull this up for you real quick. I'm going to give you, can I share my screen?
Let me see. Yeah, you should be able to share.
Let me just hide my client's name so you can't. Okay. Oh, I don't think I can. Shoot. Never mind. I can't show this to you on the screen.
Well, send me a screenshot. On Facebook, and I'll share it. I'll put a link to the screenshot in description on a couple different platforms. But send me a screenshot and I'll share it. Right. And I can also edit it into the video.
So August 20th, 2020 was the first day that we had clients. Now, keep in mind, they probably didn't start selling until maybe a month past that. But since that time, we've done 105,754 total orders that have flowed out of our warehouse for $552,000 in profit.
$500,000 profit.
And the cool thing about that, I think that what you're going to like most is, outside of that, you know how many IPs we've received on our products in the last year plus? 5.
Wow.
5 total.
Wow. Yeah.
5 total amongst thousands of different SKUs.
Yeah.
Right. So,
wow.
You know, we've solved so many issues.
You actually solved a lot of problems for sellers, dude. Respect, dude.
Yeah. Thank you. Really proud of it. So I got to run, man. I appreciate it. Yeah,
dude. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, everyone. Listen, any question for Jason? Jason is one of the leaders, or maybe the leader in the Amazon space. Most definitely Amazon software space. So to have him going into wholesale Amazon is a blessing. It's a pleasure, dude. And anytime I could have you on the channel again. Please come back.
Keep me in touch. Yeah, keep me in touch, and I'll find some time for sure. Okay, I like rapping. So all right, I'll talk to you later. See you.
I'll talk to you later.